Nosotras somos mujeres iguales.
We are women like you.
Sentimos, pensamos.
We feel, we think.
La diferencia es no ver, no caminar y no hablar.
The only difference is that we don't see or we don't walk or we don't talk.
Pero nosotras tenemos que estar aquí con los mismos derechos.
But we, like you, have the same rights.
Exigimos acceso.
We want access.
Disabled Women, Visions and Voices, from the Fourth World Conference on Women.
In September 1995, the Fourth World Conference on Women and NGO Forum were held in Beijing, China. For the first time, women with disabilities had a strong, organized presence. This was due to 10 months of hard work by disabled women and several international disability rights groups. They held the first international symposium on issues of women with disabilities in Beijing the day before the NGO Forum began. 200 disabled women representing 25 countries came to China. Susan Siegel was one of the organizers.
I know I join many of you who have always dreamed of a meeting where women with disabilities and their allies from all over the world would gather together to ensure that women with disabilities will be represented at the UN Conference on Women. We will achieve our rights and the respect we deserve as women with disabilities.
The Platform for Action is a document produced by the UN Conference on Women. It is an agreed-upon guideline for governments, organizations, and individuals on improving the lives of women in 12 areas of concern, such as health, education, and employment. It is drafted in meetings held during the year prior to the conference. Because the issues of women with disabilities have often been excluded, the goal this year was to make sure that the concerns of disabled women were addressed.
A disability can be endured, but the lack of human rights, the deprivation of equal opportunities, and the institutional discrimination cannot be endured and should not be tolerated.
At the symposium, women developed policy statements that they wanted to communicate to the nearly 25,000 non-disabled women and to the media at the NGO Forum and UN Conference.
Disabled girls are, in fact, girls, and they have hopes, dreams, voices, and issues like their non-disabled sisters. Disabled girls are entitled to become strong, healthy, proud disabled women.
Disabled women have the right to be parents.
My name is Minusi Ken. I'm from Canada. All income generated and projects for the economic development of women should be accessible and available to women with disabilities.
No woman or anyone who attends this conference should be able to leave Beijing without thinking about the rights of women with disabilities.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving.
Thousands of women filled the Workers' Stadium in Beijing for the opening ceremonies of the NGO Forum. There was an atmosphere of solidarity and the realization that so many women from all over the world had come to China, many under difficult circumstances.
Never turning back.
In the months prior to the conference, disabled women in the U.S. and internationally lobbied conference organizers to ensure that the site and workshops would be accessible to women with all types of disabilities. Despite their efforts, physical and communication access was a major problem.
I want to say an example. In the morning, there was something about Latin America. I was very interested in being there. It was in the 4th floor. Some people arrived and they were carrying me. That is very dangerous.
I'm a deaf person. People stand up and speak and there's no translation for us. We're deaf people and we need to talk to the others.
Conference materials were not provided in alternative formats such as braille, tape, and large print for women who are blind, low vision, or dyslexic. The disability tent was placed in a remote location of the site and was difficult to reach because of mud and rocks. Disabled women held demonstrations to protest the lack of access. It was the first time at the conference that a group held a protest outside the designated demonstration area.
Nothing about us without us. We don't want decisions to be taken on our behalf. We want to contribute towards those decisions equally, and we don't want to be sidelined or marginalized anymore.
We need to discuss the fact that education for disabled girls is almost impossible to get in almost every country of the world. We need to discuss the fact that disabled women are victims of violence at much higher rates than non-disabled women. We need to discuss women's issues and how disabled women's issues are women's issues. And we need to discuss that together. We need to sit down in solidarity as sisters to discuss this. We are not here to talk about just the ramps. We are here to discuss the problems of disabled women and how together as sisters, we can solve this.
The protests were effective. While not all demands were met, the tent was moved to a more accessible location, ramps were built, and some workshops were moved. The protests also raised awareness for all participants. In acknowledgement of disabled women's struggles, Madeleine Albright, United States Ambassador to the UN, gave her internationally broadcast speech in the disability tent. The NGO Forum was successful in providing an opportunity for disabled women to discover each other, form alliances with non-disabled women, and plan for actions in the future. The stories and papers presented highlighted both the common interests and the diversity of women with disabilities. In Japan, disabled women are fighting the eugenic protection law, which tries to prohibit the birth of children with disabilities through selective abortion. People with disabilities are sometimes forced to undergo sterilization to prevent them from having children.
When I found out this law when I was 20 years old, my friend told me this is a terrible law which discriminates against the people with disabilities. But at the time, I couldn't really understand why it is. And at the time, I thought I was inferior to the people without disabilities, and I was trying to catch up with the people, so-called normal people. I remember saying to my friends, of course the people with disabilities, they shouldn't be born because they have disabilities. And the time I made friends with Urara, she's CP as well. She told me that I wasn't wrong as I was. Meeting Urara, that has changed me to think that it's okay, be myself and follow my pace. And after that, I start thinking, right, something is wrong with the eugenics protection law, that I have to do something about it.
My name's Naomi Ruth Esiaba. My talk this afternoon is going to be on power and decision making in relation to the disabled woman. In most cases, it's going to be the African situation or the Kenyan situation, because as much as our problems are the same, we have also different problems and priorities.
My name is Jean McCovey. I'm an American Indian. I'm very proud of who I am. We have the ADA codes, the American Disability Act. But this law is a United States code and does not apply to the reservations.
En este momento me toca compartir con ustedes.
Actually, I will talk about the movement of women with disabilities. Our movement in Nicaragua started in 1993 with a group of 14 people who were affected for local anesthesia. By that time, people said that we were crazy women and that we weren't able to do anything. But 1 year after, we were 50 women together, and we were able to have our voice in the parliament. That's why I am one of the persons who believe that we must change the society. We have to say that this is a right that we have like human beings.
At the UN conference, women with disabilities were successful in influencing the language of the Platform for Action. The document stressed the need to eliminate barriers in the areas of education, employment, health, social services, and information. From the conference in Beijing, women with disabilities took home the realization that they are not alone in their struggle to advance human rights, that they can work together to make a better world for all women and all disabled people.
Keep on walking proudly.
Produced and directed by Suzanne C. Levine and Patricia Chadwick. Editing, Roxanne Bruns. Sound recording, Patricia Chadwick. Still photography, Suzanne C. Levine. IMC operator, Patrick Campbell. Additional images, Kathy Cade, 200 Women. Maria Luisa Aboim, protest videos. Marilee Turner, Broken Pathways. Many thanks. Narration, Patricia Chadwick. Music, Never Turning Back, written and performed by Pat Humphreys. Voices of Women, Sayud Marcos, Nicaragua, interpretation by Alicia Contreras. Susan Segal, United States. Lucy Hernandez Wong, United States. Carolyn Russo, United States. Judy Rogers, United States. Minu Sican, Canada. Alicia Contreras, Mexico. Kathy Haas, United States. Interpretation by Jadine Murillo. Maria Ranto, South Africa. Corbett O'Toole, United States. Aiko Tsutsumi, Japan. Naomi Ruth Esiaba, Kenya. Jean McCovey, United States. Petrona Sandoval, Nicaragua. This video was made possible by funding from Mobility International USA. Mayusa's contribution to this project is supported by the National Institute on Disability and Rehabilitation Research, NIDR, through the International Disability Exchanges and Studies, IDEAS Project 2000. Thank you. Travel and pre-production partially funded by Disabled Women's Alliance, USA. Post-production donated by Video Arts, San Francisco, California. Their contributions were considerable factors in making this video possible. Special thanks to Maria Luisa Abuim, Cindy Lewis, Kathy Martinez, Corbett O'Toole, Mary Scott, Miriam Tellis. Due to the limited length of this video, we cannot include everything we wanted. Please read the insert for additional important information. Copyright 1996, Wide Vision Productions, P.O. Box 22115, San Francisco, California, 94122-0115, USA. Disabled Women, Visions and Voices, from the Fourth World Conference on Women.
Never turning back.